Live look outside this morning from our camera in San Miguel, where you can see the blanket of low cloud coverage. We have those low clouds extending all the way out to the foothills of the mountains this morning. And you know what? Partial clearing today. It's not going to clear all the way. We're going to see significantly cooler temperatures today and tomorrow even cooler, but we'll start to warm back up into Wednesday. Right now, again, the clouds all the way out to the foothills of the mountains, even running up the foothills here. You can see extending out over toward Julian, but generally the clouds are west of the mountains. Ramona visibility down to 3 miles. We have clouds there below 1,000 feet. Everywhere else, the clouds are about 1,500 to 2,000 feet. Again, we're only expecting partial clearing today. Temperatures right now are largely in the 60s, although we're at 59 in Ramona, 50 in Campo, it's 63 in Poway, 66 in San Diego, and 64 in Otay. Temperatures this afternoon will be cooler than what we saw yesterday, significantly cooler for some of our inland spots where we're only going to hit the mid and upper 70s. 75 for La Mesa today, 77 in El Cajon, 73 in Chula Vista. We'll get to 77 in Fallbrook, Valley Center, and Escondido, 79 in Ramona. Some of these temperatures 10 to 15 degrees cooler than what we saw out there yesterday. The mountains will also be in the 70s, and we're going to see gusty winds. In fact, wind gusts are already in the 20-mile-per-hour range out over toward the mountains. They'll continue that way through the early afternoon, and then stepping into the evening, notice those wind gusts picking up even more. Mount Laguna, 34-mile-an-hour gusts at 8 o'clock this evening. And notice where you see the pink shading here over some of the ridge tops. That's where we're going to see wind gusts as strong as 60 miles per hour. So wind advisory is in effect. We'll talk more about that, plus why it's going to be so cool the next couple of days, coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, let's get you caught up on traffic inland today. But temperatures are not going to be warming up very much today. In fact, significantly cooler than what we saw yesterday, largely in the 70s. We will hit 97 in Borrego and 81 in Campo, but that is significantly cooler than yesterday. 14 degrees cooler in Campo, 12 degrees cooler in Lakeside and El Cajon, down 10 degrees in Palomar Mountain and Ramona today. So temperatures now well below average for this time of year for our inland spots. Escondido, El Cajon, and Ramona, 10 to 12 degrees below average, and it's going to get even cooler into tomorrow, all thanks to this area of low pressure to the north, causing this big dip in the jet stream, which is going to increase our sea breeze influence significantly, bringing us the cooler temperatures and gusty winds over toward the mountains and deserts. A wind advisory will take effect at noon today. It will go through tomorrow night. For the areas highlighted in brown here on your screen, wind gusts will be as strong as 60 miles per hour in those areas, and we could even see a little bit of drizzle near the coastline. The clouds, the low clouds this morning, very extensive. We will not see much clearing today. At 12:30, partial clearing, same thing into the early afternoon before the clouds roll back in at 6. And check this out, at the coastline into tomorrow morning, see the green here on the screen indicating areas of drizzle in the 4 o'clock hour. This will continue through the morning. Through 7:30, you can see the rain up through the North County areas. Same thing by 10:30, and again, the clouds are real slow to clear again tomorrow. Let's get a look at that 7-day forecast. Much cooler today, continued cooling tomorrow, really noticeable away from the coastline. We'll start to work cooler weather, all thanks to an area of low pressure passing us to the north. We're looking live from Mount Woodson out towards Ramona, and the low cloud coverage is intact this morning. It's overcast all the way out to the foothills of the mountains, even running up the foothills this morning. Temperatures will cool as much as 14 degrees today over what we saw yesterday, and we have a wind advisory in effect. These clouds that you're looking at are going to be real stubborn to clear. In fact, we may not even see any clearing at the coastline today. It's 67 in Imperial Beach right now, 66 in San Diego, and 64 in Otay Mesa, all under overcast skies. In Ramona, it's 59 degrees, 67 in Miramar, again overcast in these locations. Same thing up through Oceanside, Fallbrook, and in Carlsbad, where we're in the 60s right now. But temperatures today only going to reach the 70s, low 70s at the coastline, mid and upper 70s for our inland spots, which is a good 10 degrees cooler than what we saw out there yesterday, even cooler in some locations. So it'll be 79 in Ramona today, 78 in Poway, 75 in San Marcos, and 77 in Fallbrook. We'll also be in the 70s in the mountains, 97 degrees in Borrego today, and 81 in Campo. We're already seeing gusty winds through the mountains. A wind advisory set to take effect at noon today. You'll see winds remaining in the 20-mile-per-hour range through the early afternoon, kicking up to the 30 and 40-mile-per-hour range into the later evening hours. The pinks that you see here on your screen here even indicate wind gusts in the 50-mile-per-hour range. So wind advisory is in effect. We'll talk more about that. Plus, wind temperatures will warm back up coming up in just a few minutes. But first, let's get you caught up on traffic. Accidents, same thing in El Cajon, 79 in Ramona, 78 out in Alpine. Look at the change from yesterday to today. 10 degrees cooler in Palomar Mountain and Mount Laguna, 11 degrees cooler in and Alpine, down 14 degrees in Campo and 12 degrees in Lakeside and El Cajon. So temperatures well below average today for our inland spots, thanks to these areas of low pressure passing to the north of us, causing this big dip in the jet stream, which is increasing our sea breeze influence. So not only was that going to mean more cloud cover that's going to stick around longer and cooler temperatures, but also gusty winds. A wind advisory is in effect for the mountains and deserts starting at noon today through tomorrow night for wind gusts as strong as 60 miles per hour. And we're even talking about the possibility of drizzle near the coastline. So you can see the cloud cover fairly extensive through the early afternoon today. Partial clearing through the afternoon before the clouds roll back in later this evening. And look at this, drizzle near the coastline into tomorrow morning, stretching all the way out to I-15, to Valley Center, to Escondido, to Poway, continuing through the 6 o'clock hour before it finally starts to let up later in the morning. But the clouds will once again be slow to clear tomorrow. So with all the additional cloud cover, cooler air filtering in, temperatures dropping significantly, we are also seeing cloudy skies all the way to the foothills of the mountains. Right now it's 59 in Campo, 60 in Ramona, 64 in Encinitas, and 66 in San Diego. Again, the clouds extending all the way out to the foothills. Visibility not really a big issue, but we're going to keep it overcast, especially at the coastline, through much of the morning and possibly even into the early afternoon. Temperatures today will be significantly cooler than yesterday, only in the 70s, even for our far inland spots. We'll hit 72 in San Diego, 73 in Kearney Mesa, and 77 in El Cajon today. We'll be in the upper 70s in Poway, Escondido, and Ramona. That's about 10 degrees cooler than what we saw out there yesterday. In the mountains, temperatures also will be in the 70s. We're also going to see gusty winds. In fact, it's already breezy in the mountains with wind gusts in the 20 mile per hour range. Right now, wind gusts 34 miles per hour in Borrego, and they're going to get even stronger later today. Closer to the coastline, wind gusts will remain in the teens for the most part, but then out over toward the mountains and deserts, you see the pink here on your screen? That indicates wind gusts in the 50 mile per hour range. Later today, it's why a wind advisory has been issued for the mountains and deserts, not just today, but also tomorrow. So we're going to be windy, we're going to be cooler. When are we going to warm back up? I'll have that answer coming up in just a few minutes. But first, let's get you caught up on track. We are going to be cooler today, largely in the 70s, even for our far inland spots. We'll be in the upper 70s in Ramona, in Lakeside, El Cajon, and Alpine, 81 in Campo, 97 in Borrego. But look at the shift from yesterday to today. We're going to be 10 degrees cooler in Palomar Mountain in Ramona, down 11 degrees in Alpine, 14 degrees cooler in Campo, and 12 degrees cooler in Lakeside and El Cajon. Temperatures well below average for our inland spots, all thanks to these areas of low pressure to the north of us, which are causing this big dip in the jet stream, increasing our sea breeze influence significantly, meaning more cloud cover that's slower to clear, also gusty winds. So let's take a look at the wind advisory information for the mountains and deserts. Today and tomorrow, wind advisory will be in effect. Gusts as strong as 60 miles per hour, causing blowing dust and sand, of course, over the ridge tops. You want to be careful if you're driving high-profile vehicles. But we also could see a little bit of drizzle at the coastline. The low clouds very extensive this morning. Not going to see a whole lot of clearing today. Partial clearing into the afternoon before the clouds return later this evening, and they're going to be more extensive tomorrow. Not only more extensive, but look at all the green here at the coastline into tomorrow morning, indicating a little bit of drizzle at the coast with the low cloud coverage. That continues through 6:30 up in Fallbrook, Oceanside, Carlsbad, even down over toward Chula Vista and Imperial Beach. By 11 o'clock, the drizzle kind of tapers off, but the clouds stick with us. So we're going to keep it cloudy the next couple of days near the coastline, and temperatures will be significantly cooler for our inland valleys, mountains, and deserts. Your wake up weather forecast brought to you by the mobile app Close 5. It's the secure way to sell stuff locally, buy and sell stuff locally, I should say. All right, let's take a look at our wake up weather forecast. Overcast west of the mountains this morning, the clouds running all the way up to the foothills. It is going to stay cloudy through much of the morning hours. We're only going to see partial clearing today. Temperatures a lot cooler as we make our way into the afternoon, and clouds will start increasing this evening around 6 out through our inland spots. Temperatures dropping as much as 14 degrees over what we saw yesterday, largely in the 70s, low 70s at the coastline, upper 70s for some of our inland spots, which again is much cooler than yesterday. We'll hit 77 in Escondido and Fallbrook, 79 in Ramona, 78 in Poway. The mountains today will be in the 70s as well, and we're also going to see gusty winds for our mountain communities with wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So temperatures well below where we should be for this time of year. For our inland spots, closer to the coastline, a little bit closer to average. 4 degrees below average in San Diego, 3 degrees below average in Oceanside, but 10 to 12 degrees below where we should be in Escondido, El Cajon, and Ramona, thanks to an area of low pressure passing to the north. We're going to talk about that, plus the wind advisory that's in effect coming up here in just a bit. But first, let's get you caught up on traffic. We're starting off part around the county, including our far inland locations, where we're only going to hit the upper 70s, which is a big change from yesterday. Down 12 degrees in Lakeside and El Cajon, 10 degrees cooler in Ramona, 14 degrees cooler in Campo. The cooling will be a little bit more subtle at the immediate coast. But it's all thanks to a couple areas of low pressure to the north of us, which are dropping the jet stream right over California, increasing our sea breeze influence, bringing us the cooler air, more of that coastal low cloud coverage, and also gusty winds. We have a wind advisory in effect for the mountains and deserts excuse me, for today and tomorrow, for wind gusts as strong as 60 miles per hour, which will cause blowing dust and sand. And not only are we going to see the cooler temperatures, the gusty winds, but we're also going to see a little bit of coastal drizzle into tomorrow morning. This afternoon, partial clearing of the cloud cover before it returns later this afternoon and evening. And then look at this. Areas of green here at the coastline, even stretching out toward Poway, Escondido, and Fallbrook into tomorrow morning, indicating drizzle with some of that low cloud coverage. Continuing through the 7 o'clock hour, and then we'll see it kind of taper off later in the morning. The clouds should break away into the afternoon tomorrow, even though they're not going to see much clearing at the coastline today. Temperatures will be cooler today, even cooler into tomorrow, well below average for this time of year.